Let's call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Batavia Public Library District for August 19, 2014. And let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
McGuire, Pupick.
Here.
Blodgett.
Here.
Deishman.
Here.
Von Moonen.
Here.
Jakubowski.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Schuster. Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Item 4 is comments from the audience. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, which is this evening's consent agenda, which consists of minutes of the public hearing from July 15th, minutes from our regular meeting of July 15, expenditures from July 2014, a resolution certifying the 2013-2014 Illinois Public Library Annual Report, and the purchase of a Wi-Fi system. And that's it. Would any trustee like to remove any of these items for a separate vote? Okay.
Make a motion, we accept the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Second by McGuire Popick. Let's do a roll call on this one, please.
McGuire, Pupick.
Aye.
Blodgett. Deishman.
Aye.
Von Moonen.
Aye.
Jakubowski.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Schuster. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda is approved. Item 6 is approving the regular agenda for today's meeting. Any changes or additions to this agenda? Okay, I'll motion to approve.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by McGuire Popick and second by Schuster. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our agenda is approved. Then item 7 is financial reports. Joy, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, the reports in your packet kind of cross both fiscal years. The working budget will be for last fiscal year, 2013-14, and the other reports for our current fiscal year, if anybody has any questions.
Do we have one more month of the 2 fiscal years, or is this the transition?
We should have one more month because typically I present in September. We're finalized, even though the audit isn't, completely done. I will know if there will be any adjustments because the auditors will be here before that meeting. So you don't get a report for the current fiscal year of 2014-15 until October, when I can give you the whole first quarter.
Okay, thank you, Joy. All right. Item 8 is the President's report. I've got a couple things to report on this month. First thing is I did attend the New Lyceum event, Monuments Men, with the speaker Jeff Misher. I really enjoyed it. I thought it, definitely timely with the movie recently out, and also had a Batavia connection that George reported on that evening. So thanks to staff who organized that, and keep up the good work on that New Lyceum series. Second thing is I'll be attending the Staff Development Day that's coming up this Friday in the morning. I'm going to be, assisting George with the employee recognition element of that development day. So I'm looking forward to that, and getting to see how many, is the entire staff going to be there?
We have 60 some. What is
Yeah,
it?
Okay.
64.
Okay.
64, which is pretty weird.
Okay, probably more than I've ever met at one time in one place, for sure. Next, we've been invited by the Batavia City Council to participate in a joint session with that body. So we would have to declare that as a public meeting, as we do all our meetings of this body, in joint session, I guess, with the city council, and then we can have some sort of a roundtable discussion and a back and forth on some issues that are important to both our units of government. So that may be taking place at our normal meeting date in September, but that's still pending. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And so if you have any things you're thinking of, questions for the city staff, the mayor, whoever, be thinking about those, and we can certainly raise those if you wish, perhaps next month. And I also saw there was a call for volunteers to participate in that food bank day, and I forgot to write down the date. I think it was September 22, was a Tuesday, so
I think I've got it, the director's report.
okay, yeah, so if the library staff is organizing a day for all volunteers,
There's
yeah,
two different dates.
September 23rd, sorry, yeah, so sign me up for September 23rd, please, and I look forward to volunteering for that. And that concludes my report. Item 9 is good news and comments from the board. Anything that any trustee would like to share?
It's okay. I'd like to recognize the volunteers that helped out at Moose Heart this summer for
Please.
the joint library Moose Heart reading. We had Dottie Solomon, Marilyn Horbus, Candy Katko, Kimberly Luthen, Linda Sullivan, Rosemary Henders, Bobby and Tom Von Lunen, Mary Fee, and Maureen Jakowski. And we really appreciate you coming out and working with the students. I think it's going to make a big difference in the fall when we start working with the kids at the school. So thank you very much.
I really enjoyed being there. It was very organized, and the kids I thought were wonderful.
Oh, good.
And if you ever need during the school year, maybe that's something to even tap
Oh, sure, yeah.
others
thanks.
to do, because those kids need to have people meet with them.
Oh, yeah, one-on-one
Adults.
definitely gives them a good sense of feeling. And also Allison, and that was great working with her too. So
The kids really liked it. I
Yeah,
can tell.
yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kara,
Thank
and thanks, Maureen. Anybody else? Okay. All right, moving on to item 10 is correspondence and communication.
There is actually one thing that I got after the packet was prepared. I'll pass these around. And this is our neighbor across the street, Joe Marconi, dropped this off in person, actually. And while the library is not a co-sponsor of this, I thought the board would want to know about this particular meeting, because we learned today that he has distributed, is it 1,500 copies of this around the community? So
I got something, not this, but something different. Yeah.
And our room will hold 140 people. We're set up with 140 chairs. And the fire marshal takes a dim view of us overcrowding the room. So Kathy and I are planning on being present just to make sure that everything is orderly, just on the off chance that 300 people might actually show up for this particular meeting. But I thought you might be interested in knowing that that was taking place.
Did this not interfere with our policies?
No, this is actually a completely open public, like a community open forum type thing, yeah. Open to anybody that wants to go to it, and so if it falls under our current policy as unacceptable.
How are we going to control the space?
Well, that's why we're going to, normally with an outside group, we don't have this issue. We've never really had this issue. We've had some groups that have come close to creating a space issue for us, and that's why Kathy and I plan to be here that evening. If the room reaches capacity, we'll basically be on hand to inform the organizers as well as the people that have come late that The room is full and we can't admit any more people.
Is there, was Joe notified that our capacity was 140?
Absolutely. He made the reservation personally, and Kathy, who's our meeting room coordinator, has worked with him throughout this whole process. And
I just talked to him today and reinforced it again.
he's very enthusiastic about his
As we understand.
So this is more of an informational thing, but since he dropped this off in person and wanted me to inform the board, I thought it best to distribute copies.
Okay.
That was the only correspondence.
All right, and we did get actually one other piece of correspondence which we'll cover on item 14 as well. But let's move on to item 11, which is the directors and librarians reports.
Okay.
George, anything to highlight from your report?
Quite a few odds and ends this month. In addition to the statistical information, you already mentioned the Northern Illinois Food Bank opportunity. We have both the Tuesday, September 23rd, and Saturday, September 27th sessions that we've organized. And kudos to Lee, Pottle, and her team for pulling this together. We also connected with Hunger Action Month. We're having a Hunger Action Day at the library. And there's a flyer in your packet about that. We will actually have this room set up and we'll be staffing it through the 12 hours that we're open to collect food as people come in the library for that. And those items, food and paper products, will go to directly to the Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry. Did want to highlight the draft of the strategic planning document that was received and is attached to the director's report, and I'd ask you to look through that, and if you have any feedback that I can pass along to NIU towards finalizing this report. There are tasks for us to do once this report is accepted by the board, but I think I want to make sure you all have an opportunity to read it and provide feedback. And then I reported on several items that I reported on last week at the facilities committee meeting relating to the new room signs that were approved. The new names were approved by the board in May. And we have new covers in this room and across the hall. There's one at each end that blend in quite nicely to the carpet, and they're very heavy duty. No carpet inserts that will fray, and we're very, very happy with those. Same company that made the boxes, but just a newer product. And then the new receptacles, the USB charger receptacles, which have not gone in. I don't think they've gone in yet, but they'll be going in soon. And we're excited to, enhance our offering that way. So those are all things I would highlight. Any questions on any of that?
Regarding the strategic plan, so our next step here is to provide feedback to you on the entire content of what's presented here, or certain elements of it?
Well, some of it is just a report on findings, but I think if there are comments on any aspect of it, I'd be happy with it, because I haven't, I've done a quick read through, but I haven't gone through in detail, and I spotted some typographical errors here and there which are not major, but I would certainly report on those just so we have a clean final document. But the substantive pieces, the recommendations that they're making on page 9 to finalize the plan, and then they've actually provided an outline of the proposed strategic plan and some worksheets. I think it'd be worthwhile to get some feedback if you have any on any aspects of that. And
Okay.
Is the worksheet, is that primarily for the staff? Or is that the
have that open a second ago. This is designed for staff to work on, but what we did in the last strategic plan was once we had established what the primary goal areas were, we actually created little action teams that included a trustee on each team plus staff. It may be a worthwhile process to follow again, I think. So,
All right, so there'll be some follow-up effort for teams or individuals to actually
absolutely.
proceed with these worksheets and okay. All right.
The important thing is whether you believe this reflects, what we have been accomplishing thus far accurately, and or if you feel we're getting off track somehow, or just any kind of feedback, that would help us make this up.
For example, they are recommending that we review the mission statement. Is that something we can decide? We're going to do that, or?
Well, the board actually adopted that originally, so that is something that we can decide, yes, we want to do that, or no, we don't want to do that. But it's, maybe that if the board is happy with the current mission statement, then you might decide, no, we don't want to do that, so it doesn't need to be in here. But if there's a consensus or at least a sense that, well, maybe it's time to at least look at it, well, then it could stay.
And would that be a committee, or would that?
Well, I think it's probably, some kind of an action team focused on that. It could be the board could assign the staff to come back with a proposal, or there could be a process that was involved a board committee or a combination of it. I haven't really thought that all the way through, but I think whatever process I think reaches the right end, without belaboring it too long.
When would you like comments by? Can you set a deadline for us?
We certainly can. That's a good point. Take a look at the calendar real quick here. How fast or slow do the trustees want to work on this?
Do you need to get responses back to them by a certain time in order to move things forward?
I think the more responsive we are to NIU, the more we move the process forward. I think the ball's in our court at this point, I think. So if we want to set by the next board meeting or by, Labor Day, which is actually not that far away, it's a whopping 2 weeks away. By the next board meeting is not a bad target. That's literally 1 month. So we could do it sooner than that. I mean, what is your feeling?
Yeah, I think we could respond by email in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, is that doable for everybody, or?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like September 5th? That's the Friday after Labor Day, or do you want to get it done?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
September 5th? Okay.
Email you, George, or Doug?
I'd be happy to compile anything.
It wouldn't hurt to send me a reminder a week or so before to say, by the way.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Now we're talking about September 5th. You said a week or so away?
A couple weeks away, maybe a couple days before, or the Monday before, just to say tomorrow.
They're like, tell me tomorrow.
Yeah, tell me tomorrow, yeah.
You can watch it on TV.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for George? Okay. Joanna, welcome.
Thank you. My report this month has a lot of highlights, both statistics from Summer Reading Club as well as a brief recap of things that happened during this fiscal year. And I've been adding this into my report since it corresponds to what we're putting into our per capita grant, our IPLAR report, and all of that information that we must do for the state. So I thought it might be handy to just pass that along to you as well. Summer Reading Club, we are pretty much right on par with numbers from 2013, with just short of 2,200 registered participants and 72%, over 72% active participation as well. Reading Success had many terrific programs and great summer reading fun this year at the library. I would as well like to thank Kara for her help with the Mooseheart outreach. One of the readers, Kimberly Luthen, said to me how just totally thrilled she was to go every week to read with those students. Allison thought it was a great opportunity as well, and that pairing with Batavia Apartments, I think, is a very nice outreach for us, and one that we hope to continue in the future and possibly even enhance in some way. So it was a great thank you for helping us make that happen, and I hope we can keep on doing it. And Maureen, it sounded like you really enjoyed it, and I know it was enjoyed by the adults, and hopefully it was enjoyed by the students as well. I am sending around only one poster of pictures this evening. We had a few vacations that interrupted our poster from our Summer Reading Club finale, but the pictures that I am sending around, because I know you always like to be looking at pictures in the evening, are from our family late night. So this was an after-hours Friday night program when we had families at the library. And I was not here, but the staff that did work the event said that everyone loved it. And we had a lot of families come in afterwards and say, the ambiance of just being in the library when it's closed and nobody else is here is just fun for kids and for adults as well. So it was a great time, and we had a very nice program, and I think everybody really enjoyed it. We also had, we said we had over 79 volunteers, I believe, this year. Junior volunteers who donated over 700 hours of time during this last fiscal year, both between the school year and the summer. And every year we do a pizza party for them, and 34 of those students were able to come to that pizza party hosted by Ruth Errett on August 6th. And that is just a great opportunity for us to utilize those the middle school students who, they don't necessarily want to come to programming, but they still want to come to the library, and volunteering is just really a great niche for them. And so I think they very much appreciated having pizza anytime, but especially for the pizza party. I have to say that I think patrons and staff thoroughly enjoyed the theme this year. The Pause to Read, the animal theme, the dog theme, the cat theme. Everyone just loved it. But I do need to already give you a little hint. 2015 theme is Read to the Rhythm. It's a musical theme. So we have lots of things. We're already putting on our thinking caps for next summer. I do want to just point out, too, in my report, the enhancements to the Youth Services Department during this last fiscal year. And I want to mention that because sometimes, we talk about them quickly at a board meeting, and then you think, well, what did we do this last year? But this year, we added the 12 new Nooks into our collection, the circulating Nooks with children's titles, and that really was a great opportunity to give to patrons something that they were hoping for, downloadable books. And it's hard for us to get all those downloadable books for kids, but the Nooks, when we've told people, especially with the middle school summer read books, we make sure that we include those on those Nooks, and we say, well, all the books are checked out, but we have a Nook if you wanted. Oh, great, I'd love it. You have Nooks that we could check out, and that's still something new that people don't realize that we have. And really, I had a mom just the other day say, you know what, I'd like to try one of those Nooks. My son's kind of a reluctant reader, but he does like gadgets. And so she wanted to check out a Nook for her son to try. The refresh of our magazine collection, which we did in about March, has really turned out great. A 22% increase in that collection checkouts just in that collection itself in the last 3 months is great. It's a great increase in checkouts. Our new our 9 new educational databases kind of got a slow start the beginning of this calendar year, and we're hoping now with the beginning of the school year we can really target those to children. Michelle is putting some information about those in some of our upcoming PR and neighbors and the e-news, and we hope to really get those being used a little bit more. And our computer lab really had a lot of new games added, new mice, kid-friendly mice. We have a lot of kids enjoying those. And then our 3 new iPads for in-house use are also being very well received. So it was a great summer. We've done a lot of new things this year and a new year starting all over again. So any questions? Thank you.
Work.
Great
worked
job,
very
Thank you.
quickly. Yeah, good job.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, Stacy, welcome.
Thank you. I have a few highlights from adult services from this past fiscal year as well. Over 3,000 adults and teens participated in 171 programs that were offered in adult services for those audiences, which are really wonderful numbers. It's difficult to attract busy adults and teens to attend events at libraries, and our library is doing better than most, so I'm glad to report that number. We also had a record number of participants in Summer Reading Club for adults and teens. 330 adults and teens completed the program, meaning they read 4 books if they were adults, 3 books if they were teens. They read a total of 3,126 books this summer, which is a great number for 330 people. Earlier, Doug mentioned the Monuments Men presentation that we hosted in July. We had an audience of 138 people. It was a wonderful event. Jeff Misher is coming back in September, on Monday, September 8th, to give a presentation as part of our art series about the surrealist world of Rene Magritte. We're looking forward to Jeff Misher's return. And next week, on Wednesday, August 27th at 7 o'clock, we have a presentation by Christopher Hodge, who is the Art in Your Eye poster artist this year. His work's currently on display on our art wall, and he created that wonderful windmill tree poster that you're going to be seeing around town if you haven't already. That is the Art in Your Eye poster this year. He'll be talking about his artwork this Wednesday at 7. So we're excited about those 2 upcoming events.
Questions for Stacy? All right, thank you. Okay, item 12 is committee reports. Andrew, anything to report from facilities?
Yeah, we talked about a couple things. George has touched on some of those already. One was changing out the outlets so that we have direct USB outlets at some of the computer caddies and other locations where we find people sitting in corners plugged in, so it'll make it easier for people to recharge their devices. Talked about the reporting rules, so we talked about
All the floor covers.
the floor covers, which that were done. The Wi-Fi, which we approved already, which should be nice too, because that's something else that's used a lot around the library. So, and then the other item that came to the committee were the chairs. We looked at new chairs for this conference room and decided to look at something a little cheaper than what was picked out a couple years ago. I think what we need out of the chairs is durability, not, we don't need like an office chair that has 27 ways of adjusting. We need something that's going to last as long as these have. So I think George is going to get some more recommendations from that.
We've been working with them. Haven't gotten anything really useful yet, although we did look up in our records and find out that the price in our files for these, the 1999 price was $445 apiece. So I'm not sure what inflation would turn those into nowadays.
Yeah, a nice chair is expensive, so I just want to make sure we wanted to make sure that we had something that was going to last and was appropriate for the space. So,
Okay.
I think that's it, unless we need to talk about the air conditioning unit now, or is that later?
That comes up under number 15.
There we go. Okay.
All right, thank
was
you,
it.
Andrew.
Yep.
Okay. 12F, the Friends. Francine, anything there?
Well, the meeting is this Thursday, so I don't really.
Yeah,
Cancel the future.
They didn't get one in July, I don't think.
All right, moving on. 12G is the link. George, anything to report there?
Well, Link meets monthly now, so hooray. For that. And, the last meeting was in Franklin Park, which was it was quite a jaunt away from here, actually. But the group is really gelling together quite a bit. We've got several new members, new directors in Geneva and West Chicago, relatively new in the last year or so, directors in Itasca and St. Charles. So it's a different, the board has changed quite a bit. And we're continuing work on Link's strategic planning process. And our next session related to that is on September 12th. So.
All right, thank you. 12H is BATV. Kara, anything to report?
I believe that they, was a couple things. The Comcast, they approved the connection between BATV and the franchise situation, so that we're going to be getting, they're going to be getting capital, money for capital for that, which is good. They also have a webpage up and running, and people should go to that and sign up for like a newsletter so they know what's going on. There's a lot of marketing. There's a marketing committee that's working on trying to reach out to more people in the community. I think North Aurora, they're getting rid of their public access thing, so there might be some opportunity for us to like reach out to that group. So that's what's going on at BATV right now, as far as I know.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, item 13 is future agenda items. And there's a memo in your packet. Any questions for George about this item? Okay. Item 14 relates to a letter that this board received from Mayor Schulke just last week, and it is in relation to the Tax Increment Finance District number 3 here within the Batavia Library District. So this has some impact, I guess, on future tax revenues for this organization. Now, so I guess let me say first of all, this is similar to the situation that Austin Dempsey reported to us on, 6 months ago, or maybe
It was in the spring.
4 or 5 months ago.
Right.
So that issue seemed to have fizzled out, but it's now come back again, and I guess the city at least is going to try to have a state law passed to allow the extension of this TIF in veto session, which is in November. Now, George, would it be correct to say that really this change would only impact our revenue between 2027 and 2039?
Correct.
Okay, so anything between now and 2027 is status quo.
Correct.
Okay.
So it would just extend the same tip from 27 to 39.
Right.
So we just
Right. So, yeah, I mean, at first, given the financial constraints that we're under and the capital needs that this organization has, I was a little bit hesitant to, approve something that is, basically a financial loser for us. But given that it doesn't impact us until after 2027, our immediate financial needs really aren't affected at all by this.
It might improve the tax base in downtown, so it actually,
right,
in the end, it could have a positive impact.
right, over the very long term, right?
None of us around the table may actually be working.
Right.
It'll be on forward by then.
Right. Yeah, of course, that's the idea of the TIF overall is to have the long-term benefits. And I guess I'll also say that the city has been a good partner for us. They compromised with us on the sidewalk and stairwell on Water Street. And I know they at least expressed willingness to give us the facade grant to help with the repairs to this building. I don't know if that's official yet, but
Well, because we rejected the bids, we have no basis to apply right now.
okay.
But I had a conversation with the mayor, maybe 2 weeks ago, and he actually asked whether we were going to consider a facade grant because he wasn't in that group as he is. And I told him yes and what we were thinking about. And he spoke in very positive terms about the library's eligibility for that. So we have someone who's very interested in our doing that in the city.
So with that, I guess I'll open it up for comments from the rest of the board.
I don't see any problem with it. I think if it's going to create, as George mentioned, a sounder tax base downtown and improve it, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And that, like you said, doesn't affect us in the short term or the long term for that matter.
A little bit in the long term, but
What are the other taxing bodies that are required to write a request?
There's a whole,
I think
probably the park district.
Park District and the school district.
part of your school district, I think actually, he sent the letter to all the taxing districts, the township, the LaVance, there's like 7.
County, maybe?
The county maybe is part of this as well.
And they all have to.
I don't know if they all have to do a letter, but I know they definitely want the sort of the significant intermediate bodies, the city, the library, the schools, and the parks, yeah. But all this area is covered by all those other taxing districts as well. So I think my understanding is that the mayor has sent this letter, a similar letter to all the affected taxing bodies.
So after 2039, we would stand to benefit with whatever redevelopment occurs.
Right, whatever taxes are being diverted to the TIF fund would no longer be diverted, and we would be getting those. So we'd see a bump. The library at the time, so we'd see a bump.
If there's redevelopment, right?
No,
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way, okay.
Because right now, whatever the taxes, our taxes in this TIF district were, if I remember exactly how this works, were frozen at a certain level, and any growth in the taxes above that level goes into the TIF fund for redevelopment purposes, and so all that growth that has occurred really from when it started to 2004. It started in 2004, yeah. So 2004 to 2039, any growth, which I presume there will have been some significant growth, will all pop into our budget, and the school budget, and the park budget, and the city budget.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the increase in taxes from existing properties.
Correct.
That were here all along.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yes, that's what I mean.
So do we need to make a motion?
I think if you want to authorize me, or I could draft something for Doug, or whatever way you want to pursue this, I think it would be appropriate for the board to affirm that in fact we do want to support this, and then it's just a matter of writing a letter of support to. I think we should do that.
Do we need to vote on that?
I think the issue you're voting on really is to support the effort to extend the TIF 3. I think is really what the motion is, because the letter is just the letter to city is just a confirmation of that action, I think is really what that is.
I believe we kind of agreed to that proposal when Austin made his presentation. After his presentation, we talked about it and thought that that would be a good thing for the community overall and would not drastically affect us. And I guess it was they decided there wasn't going to be able to be passed, so that's why they put it on the back burners. Now I guess something's changed.
Well, I think the city basically stepped into the process. I think Austin and his partners were going around promoting this. I don't think they actually had taken into account the other three or whatever number of taxing districts in this area, 3 or 4.
I think they planned to do that, but we were like one of the first to talk
And
to
then
about.
I think the city just took charge of the process, which actually I think is appropriate. It sounds like the city has a relationship.
I think he had a specific property on which he wanted to do
Right.
some improvements,
Corner up here.
and that might have changed, you know.
I don't know what the status, I know that the Hubbard building has been leased.
Right, so that's no longer.
I don't know that it's a long-term lease, but I know that the new company, a high-end consignment,
Right.
Richmond, just opened this week, I think.
Yeah, they've got a ribbon cutting this weekend, so.
Hubbard.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Close personal
It's on my
connection.
schedule, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to support the TIP extension with the drafting of a letter to the city council affirming that decision.
Second.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, you
Okay.
motioned it? Okay, I'll second.
Moved by Von Lennon
Sorry.
and
I thought that was a
second
motion. Okay.
second by Schuster. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you. We'll make sure that the city council knows that we unanimously approved that. Okay, next item 15 is the communications room with the failure of the air conditioning system, and George has some cost proposals for
I
us.
did, and the piece I passed out just before the meeting started is an update on that. It says revised on the top. It's number 15, it says revised.
I got it. Okay. Okay.
Since the packet went out, I've been gathering data, and so we've got 3 different prices. The first one, you take a moment to laugh, and we can move on. Past the very expensive, wonderful solution that we're not going to do. Then there's the recommended solution, which I think makes the most sense, and which, when I ask flat out which of these 3 options do you think is the best for us, General Mechanical Systems recommended this one, and this is basically upgrading the current system from a 1-ton to a 2-ton ductless, what they call a mini split air conditioning system. Unlike the third solution, which is $209 less expensive, it does not require penetrating what they call the demising wall. And that's that particular room there, because it's adjacent to the boiler room, has a special block wall like you'd see in a condominium development. A demising wall is the wall that's between the units in townhouses or condominium. It's an extra sound barrier, fire barrier, the whole 9 yards. And the third option is a more traditional fan coil and condensing unit. The one piece would be in the boiler room, like the piece you might normally see outside is a special one designed to be inside. They require actual ductwork to be cut through that demising wall. And frankly, I prefer avoiding having to cut through that particular wall since our communications room is on the other side of the boiler room. But those are the 3 options, and I would recommend the middle one as the plan there.
So this air conditioner is primarily for the communications room?
It's completely for the communications room. Yeah. Since the building opened, We have an incredible increase in the amount of electronic equipment in there. That's where our telephone system terminates, and we have a computer running the telephone system. We have our main communications rack in there, and we've recently been upgrading our servers and such. And since we installed the current unit that has been failing on us and has in fact failed on us, we've actually added more heat to that room, and we put a temperature alarm in there just so we could monitor if it gets too hot, like if it hits like 75 or 80 in that room. And it actually, the alarm has in fact gone off recently, so we now keep that door open 24 hours with a fan, just blowing, air from the hallway in there, just trying to circulate air. So when we first installed the in-room unit, the one-ton unit, it worked like a dream. It really kept the room cool enough, in spite of all the computer equipment we had in there. This, according to the testing that General Mechanical Systems has done, will bring us back to that safety level. Yeah, the first unit that is so expensive is actually a system that is installed in computer rooms all over the country. It's designed specifically for computer rooms, and it's, that's overkill for us in this situation, but that's why it's so expensive. It's a very high-end, very secure, used by a lot of major corporations in their computer. If we were building the building nowadays, we'd probably have a raised floor. We'd have an air system coming in with air, coming in underneath the floor, and cable and things like that coming underneath the floor. But that, so much of what we're doing now wasn't even in existence when this building was planned in 1999.
So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and upgrade to the recommended Mitsubishi 2-ton.
Good. Second by Jakubowski. Any discussion? Okay.
How soon will this be able to be completed?
They actually can, I'll contact them tomorrow, and I think they'll be able to get it done in a week.
I just have a question. Are there any obsolescence issues or anything with this Mitsubishi system that we basically have a Mitsubishi now, and we're just upgrading it from
I don't know
one-ton to
whether the
2-ton?
current system is actually Mitsubishi. I don't know the brand name, but it's a one-ton unit. It's more the size. I think the heat in the room overtaxed the one-ton system, I think, is what really happened there, and the compressor just started to fail. And it would go out, and they were repairing it and tweaking it, and it just reached the point where it just stopped working. And it would cost us so much money to replace just the compressor. It actually is more costly. It costs several $1,000s. It makes more sense to upgrade the whole system and have the correct. I'm not an engineer, and I don't know whether this is not your area of expertise.
No.
I don't think yet. But the testing they did indicated that a 2-ton system should work for our foreseeable future. Now, will it fail at some time in the future? Well, I suppose every air conditioning system is going to fail sooner or later. They can't promise that it won't ever fail, but I think it'll last us for a while.
Just want to make sure it can be repaired if, it's not something that's
The compressor is
not
the key
state of the
piece
art
it.
or whatever kind of thing, right? But
If we get more communication materials, are we good? And then
Well,
can you separate some of the communication materials so there isn't as much generating as much heat? Or
we actually have a secondary communications room that's located in the shelved area on off of youth services, so we do have some equipment there. I don't know that we have a plan. I don't know that our plans would actually cause us to add more. The new servers we've put in, we've separated the public side of the computer system completely from the staff side, which is, so we really have 2 servers now. The only reason we would expand beyond the point where we're at now is if we installed like our own email server or something like that, which we have no immediate plans to do. So there are advantages to having, and it's not called an email server, but there's some libraries I know have installed a system where they can run email and calendar system and things like that themselves. The email system that we're part of is through Link, and it has a lot of features, but it doesn't have all the features that we would have if we ran our own system. But we don't have the particular need, I think, at this time for that. I don't think that's going to be an issue for us in the foreseeable future. If that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
George, excuse me, I have a question that I've been wondering. Has there been any comments from our clientele about the new bathrooms we had?
Yes, mostly positive. We've gotten good, especially I've heard, especially from some of the patrons who complained about the fact that they were not looking so good. A handful of those folks have actually approached, and different staff, and myself included, and indicated great pleasure with the look. We actually did get a complaint after we refinished the floors because they were so bright. Someone, I forget why they were really complaining, but it was a bit, yeah, patron thought it was too bright. Yeah, it was too bright or something. No one could believe that the grout was actually white in that room. We basically stripped it back, and it's white. You know, the grout is white, and the floors look good, so we sealed them really good. But, maybe
It's nice to
one
know
negative
that
comment.
spending all that money, it was appreciated.
Noticed, right?
They do look great.
Yeah, they're holding up
They needed
well,
to be
like we
done.
thought. So yes, Tom, there were some problems.
Was there, did Jeff have any problem with the cleaning?
No, we had one issue with what looks like it was shaving cream on the counter. We thought it had hurt the finish, but it turns out it doesn't seem to have hurt the finish. It just left a residue that we manufacturer said just take a razor blade and just scrape that off and you'll be fine. So.
Shaving cream, huh?
Well, yes. We rarely catch anybody in the act, but there is evidence from time to time that we have patrons that do, in fact.
Was that in a women's bathroom?
In this case, no, it wasn't.
It was downstairs in the youth.
All right.
They were. I think we've gotten way off topic.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion.
Yeah, we have a motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor related to the air conditioner, not anything to do with shaving necessarily. Okay, so any further discussion on that item? Yeah, so let's have a roll call, please.
Oh, sure. McGuire Pocket.
Aye.
Lodge. Beechman.
Aye.
Von Linen.
Aye.
Jakubowski.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Schuster. Aye.
Okay, our solution at 6220 is approved. George, please proceed with that. And item 16, you can see a list of upcoming meetings and events. Library's closed on Labor Day. And then item 17, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Blodgett, second by Schuster. All in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned. Thank you.
Was that?